The next station is Kingsbury. Doors will open on the left-hand side.
I don't want to talk to you. You're silly!
Hello Whovians, and welcome to my latest Doctor Who review, where today I review Doctor Who The Web of Fear, starring Patrick Troughton as the second Doctor. So, The Web of Fear. Before I continue, I just wanted to give a special shout out to my friend and subscriber Nicholas Payne. He came round to my house today and we watched the story together, and he very kindly agreed to appear in the sketch for this review. Yeah, so I wanted to thank him for that, so please subscribe to him. He's a good guy, does some interesting reviews, and he's a personal friend of mine as well. I know him from college, and etc. Anyway, on to the review. So, the 41st Doctor Who story, The Web of Fear. So, the basic plot of this story is, the TARDIS narrowly avoids becoming engulfed in a cobwebby substance in space. It arrives in the London Underground Railway system, the tunnels of which are being overrun by the Web and by the Great Intelligence's robot Yeti. The time travellers learn that this crisis was precipitated when Professor Travers, whom they first met in the Himalayas some 30 years earlier, accidentally caused one of the Yeti to be reactivated, opening the way for the intelligence to invade again. The Travellers work alongside army forces led initially by Captain Knight and then by Colonel Lethbridge Stewart as they battle the alien menace, hampered by the fact that one of their number has fallen under the intelligence's influence and is a traitor in their midst. So that is essentially the plot of this story. Sorry about my words, I'm getting a bit tongue-tied. Blah. Okay. So, The Web of Fear. Another very good story. Yes, this is a very good, very entertaining Doctor Who story. I don't think it's perfect, but it's probably not as good as the previous story, but it's still a very good one. I still enjoyed it. I can see why a lot of people love it. My thoughts on this are, again, like the previous stories in this series, it's too long. It's 6 parts. Every story is 6 parts, other than Tomb of the Cyberman in this season, and it's starting to get on my nerves. It's starting to become irritating. It's difficult to watch these stories because they are too long. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm completely ranting, but at the same time, I've got to be critical about this, and for me the biggest issue is the pacing. There are sections of this story which just kind of drag, and I don't think this needed to be 6 parts. You could have cut it down to 5 or 4 parts, that would have been much better. But other than that, this is a really good story. I like the fact that it's very confined and it's set in this underground railway suburb. Gives it gives a much more enclosed feel and a much more suspenseful feel, I suppose. I mean, that being said, it's, you know, they don't have a huge scope with this story. It's not like the Himalayas where they go out on a huge location. This is much more confined and more contained, but I think that works. It's nice to see Colonel Lethbridge Stewart, the first major appearance of him. Obviously, Not quite the Brigadier just yet, but still, it's nice to see him. The three main leads are very good, as always. Patrick Troughton as the Doctor does a very good job in this story, and he's very commanding and very funny in his role as the Doctor. Jamie McCrimmon, Frazer Hines is great once again as Jamie. He still hasn't lost his accent, so thank God for that. Deborah Watling as Victoria. She's great in this story, and obviously, once again, she has to act alongside her daddy, and that proves to be very entertaining because Professor Travers returns in this story. Obviously, he's much older now, and I thought his scenes were very, very engaging. I think even more engaging than the Abominable Snowmen. This story basically is a sequel to the Abominable Snowmen, which for me was a very poor story. So it's nice to see this one is better. It is better. I mean, automatically, it is better. There's no other way to describe it. Yeah, and so that's very good. And obviously, we're not going to be seeing Victoria for much longer. She is due to leave the show in the next story, which is sad to see her go, but we'll get to that one next time. But as for this story, I like Victoria very much. She's kind of doing what she did in the Ice Warriors, where she's being quite frightened, not to the same extent, but still like, like I mean, it's not, but it works. You know, it works. I think she does a convincing job in this story. The action sequences are terrific. There's some great battle sequences where the Yeti actually get out of the underground and go onto the London streets and start attacking the army and have battle with the army. The design of the Yeti has improved, actually. I think it's very good. I mean, nowadays, yes, it's obvious that it's guys in suits, but they look big and pretty scary. And any time when they're on screen, it's something interesting. There's a lot of suspense in this story, which really helps give it a different effect than the Abominable Snowman had. Oh, excuse me, my voice is cracking. The music for this story is great too. I think the production design is great. The sets are wonderful. The London Underground set of Charing Cross is great. The direction is tight. It's very good. Who directed this story? Douglas Camfield. His direction is very good, and the writing by Mervyn Haseman and Henry Lincoln is very good as well. The script is pretty solid. The idea of the web was pretty cool. You'd think it would be something to do with spiders, but no. Although they do mention a spider somewhere in there. And as for the Great Intelligence, I'm not really a huge fan of the Great Intelligence. I think the Great Intelligence is okay. I think it's a perfectly passable antagonist for Doctor Who. This would be the last appearance of the Great Intelligence until the Matt Smith era, so that's years away. But I think it makes a better impression in this story than in the previous story, the Abominable Snowman. The voice is much more intimidating, and the way it hypnotizes people is much more effective in this story. So they have learned from some of what I thought were major problems in the previous story. I say previous story, I mean the Abominable Snowman. They have learned from the Abominable Snowmen and have actually improved in a lot of areas, which I think is great. Overall, there's not much else I can say. I think also Anne Travers, she's Travers' daughter. Yeah, Anne Travers is also pretty good. I like her very much too. And it's a great ride. It's a lot of fun. It's a great thrilling ride. It's just a bit slow. It just takes its time in places where they just stop and talk for a long time. It's too long. Like, seriously, I know there's only two more stories in this season, but they've all been 6 parts. It's time to deviate a little bit. It's time to do something different. Not every story needs to be an epic length. This is where the series is starting to feel long for me now, but never mind. So yeah, that's pretty much my review of The Web of Fear. Again, thanks to Nicholas Payne for appearing in the sketch and for watching it with me today. And I'm going to close off by scoring this one a 9 out of 10. Yeah, it's very good. It's a very good one. Next, we have the penultimate story of this season, Fury from the Deep, which is also, sadly, Victoria's final story. No! Well, at least she didn't get killed by the Yeti, thank God. So yeah, we will be saying goodbye to Deborah Watling in Doctor Who next time in Fury from the Deep. So until my review of that, stay tuned. Thank you all for watching, and as always, I'm Mr. TARDIS11. See ya.